There's a lot that's going on in the world right now. The advancement of AI, the dissolution of personal identity, the end of liberal ideology, perhaps as we know it. There's war, inflated market projections. It can feel very overwhelming for anyone. And for myself as well, I think the question that I find myself continually asking is, where do I fit in all of this? When we ask big questions that require a lot from us to answer, confronting the sheer magnitude of such a question evokes anxiety. You start to feel like no matter what you do, the forces and the tides of society are already set in motion, and you are only subject to them against your will. But that's not true. When we say things like society or the world, we often forget that you and I are a part of this world. The world isn't just something that's outside of us. It's something we're in participation with. You meet the world every single day. You walk outside and see your neighbor. You meet the world in your local corner shop. That's society. That's the world. But we can often lose sense of that because we have these abstractions that make it seem like they're anything else. That make it seem like they're anything other than people. Words like the market. The market is just people. People who have needs, people who have desires, fears. You and I are the market. As I've been building my business, sometimes I have to remind myself of that I'm not serving the market. I'm not asking myself where in the world I fit in. I'm asking, who am I serving? And the journey of entrepreneurship is one where you make the decision to create solutions for real people. May I help you? All right. As deafening as the noise can feel, I think that there is a thread that is worth pursuing in this thought. The reminder that we live in the world, we're in participation with the world, and that the market is nothing but the collective of people's desires. I really do feel distaste for what the market has become. You hear people say things like, late stage capitalism. But even that, I think, is a kind of a low resolution analysis that's easy to say but doesn't really mean anything. I'm always skeptical of people who are so quick to point out problems but never really have a single idea about how to work towards a solution. And as far as I can tell, it's not black and white. We very much benefit from capitalism in many ways. To say that there aren't any flaws would be naive. Every system has flaws. I think the post-industrial society that we live in has optimized for efficiency and convenience, and while we have the benefit of being able to DoorDash chicken katsu to our doorstep in a few hours and buy a Lady Gaga ticket online, the fundamental thirst that our species has remains unchanged. Namely, our existential dread, our fear of uncertainty, our certainty of death, our temptation towards nihilism, and the pursuit of the endless hedonistic treadmill. These never really change as far as I've seen. But with that, the spirit of the times tends to always be inclined towards the more temporal, the more urgent, the more fleeting, the more loud. And this is also true in the world of business and in the market. The price of a stock is valued on the basis of the speculation of the people who buy the stock. It's the perception of a company's value, not the actual value. It's the person who can shout the loudest and garner the most attention by any means necessary that often reaps the most temporary gain. In the marketplace, there is exaggeration, hyperbole, persuasion, coercion, in varying degrees. It's a spectrum. But I would say the majority often fail to see entrepreneurship and the service of people as a long-term game of compounding trust, of reputation, and of genuine service. More often than not, it's a game of profiteering, of ego inflation, and exploitation. But I think the more important question that encompasses our state is, for what purpose? What direction are we headed in? That really is a value question. It's not a scientific one. It's not a data-driven question. It can't be answered by data. It has to be answered by a human being. What is important and what should be prioritized? What are the purposes of the things that we're building? What are we building towards? It's the forgotten question. And in philosophy, the The term for this way of thinking would be teleology, considering the aim of things. It's like the destination that you put inside your GPS. What are we aiming for? What's the purpose of the market, of business, of consumption? And I think the solution really lies in remembering the world, more specifically, the world encountered in people, in your local corner shop, in the people that you speak to every day. And if you can examine attentively to people, you will definitely notice they do need things. And it's often not what they're seeking for on the surface. It's not the newest clothing drop. It's not concert tickets. It's not Pilates. It's recognition. It's deep connection, human encounter. It's permission. The word permission originally comes from the word permittere in Latin, and it means to let go. We live in a world where people are gripping and grasping onto the next thing, onto everything that they can get their hands on. It's the opposite of letting go. But what people really want is permission. Permission to be honest. Permission to pursue the highest vision that they believe they have the potential for. Permission to be themselves without being objectified and valued differently. People want that. People want to be witnessed. And so it's been, in my own way, a mission of mine to participate in being a part of that solution in a practical, tangible way through a business that doesn't treat people like a metric that you have to drag along a line. I want to treat people as people. I don't want to drag anyone anywhere. I want to encounter people. I want to invite people into a space, an experience where they can discover the potential that's nested into themselves, that's waiting to be uncovered. I think that's really the two ways that we'll see a big divide. I think there will be a large majority of people who stay the course, who have hurriedly jumped on the train without ever checking or being concerned about the destination, living busy lives. There will be others who do ask the question, where are we going? Why am I on this train? Where do I want to go? What do I want to build? Who do I want to meet? If we can ask ourselves that question, for what purpose, it really changes our disposition right now. And I don't think there's anything about that that's different to hope, an outlook, a vision that you can't really see yet, but that's pointed at something better. Often that's really all it takes. What if we just pointed at something that was better, imagined something that was better, and set our sights for that? And with all our might, we accepted the adventure and the journey of pursuing that path above all others. Once I started doing that, I rediscovered the beauty of it all, of serving people, of the opportunities that very much still exist, even though the news outlets and the social media feeds will repeatedly tell you otherwise, that it's a morbid reality that we live in, that the times and the crises that we find ourselves in are unprecedented. Yeah, in all of this pessimism, I think you can find that beauty again. You can choose to be part of that solution in some way. And then you realize that the world isn't going to be like all the doomsday sayers and market forecasters and the news anchors and conspiracy theorists or the tech gurus are saying. No one really knows. It's yet to be, and you and I play a part in that. Imagining and creating a better tomorrow as a personal responsibility, I think, is not this grand egotistical declaration, but rather a reclaiming, a contrarian one, but nevertheless a reclaiming of our own agency. To not just let our lives in the world, quote unquote, slip away, but be a part of the solution to serving people again. I think the future business, the business that thrives, the business that lasts, is the one that, once again, treats service as the service of people and not a metric. It's the business that invites people into a space, an experience, and a transformation, rather than the one that coerces. That's what I'm building. I hope you come closer to grasping the shape of something similar for you, and you can find the clarity in the noise. But just know that you don't have to be swept away by any of it. When you wake up tomorrow, you wake up to infinite potentiality, and you can choose, how do you want to show up for the world? How do you want the world to be? Who do you want to be to other people? Okay. Bye-bye.